Welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and my authority. Today, we are talking about the second part of the 24th chapter of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which is the 21st chapter of the book of Zion. As I said, this is the second part. It contains the end of the general reading and the beginning of the dissertation. So I'm going to begin where I left off. However, they now have their own world. So we are the sole heirs to the earth. At the time when the Grey first came here, they were essentially homeless. Their entire civilization was spaceborne. Their home world had long before ended its life cycle. Our world was their new home until the plague that nearly wiped them entirely from the face of from existence. So they're very happy to have a new homeworld of their own. We, here on Earth, have to contend with the problems that we have created for ourselves. It's not just global warming that is the problem with the society. We live in a dark and ugly time. The matrix of the Earth has been encased in darkness. We are a very negative society. All dark things are easy. Greed, pride, physical force. These are emotions that prevent good things, like freedom, from existing. We, who are of the light, must struggle against these darker desires to create good. We must shatter this dark path of creation. To do this, we must find our inner selfless joy. This joy is not about the I. It's not about the ego. We all have something that we enjoy doing just for the joy of doing it. Um, for me, that's doing good deeds. I love to make people smile. That is my selfless joy, or one of them. I also sing. I tell stories. I play with children. I dance. I act. I write. The list goes on and on. These are the simple things that make me happy, but that does no harm to others. This seeking out of joy for its own sake creates positive energy. This creation of joy spreads to all who come near it. It's contagious. So, by finding our inner joy, we create joy in others. That touches everyone around us. We help others remember how to simply feel joy. I used to tell my temple members that the temple was a bubble of good in a world full of muck. Muck is the dark energy that is created by negative thoughts, words, and actions. Our world is full of this muck. And I always say, fuck the muck. Don't be a generator of negative energy. We must create our own bubble of joy to protect us from the negativity of all the muck around us. So, when my priests and priestesses begin their duties, they will be a force of joy and unity between God and humanity, and for humanity as a whole. We need to create goodwill. I tell my priests that their job is to give aid to all and to refuse none. We are healers. All we are healers, not only of ourselves, of each other, but of the breach. We use joy to combat hate. We use the power of goodwill to counterbalance the negativity, to create peace and unity for all. When the human race realizes the unique role that Zionites have to play in the future of our race, everyone's opinion of us will reverse. We will be honored for the vital role that we play in the larger scheme of life. The entire social order of the planet will change. The nature of Zion and her allies will be um, the, the nexus of all joy on earth. The locations of the spaceports, the traffic off-world, will be coordinated through Zion. So, our place in the new order will be central. We will be the most prosperous nation on earth because we will have just compensation for the pain and suffering that we now endure by being the central hub for all intergalactic commerce. Other than the spaceport, the new construction will all be intermountain. We will use existing buildings and fields as best we can converted to zero emissions. But when we can replace it inside the mountain, we will do that to let the land reclaim itself and to be able to eat more healthy food. Only by allowing the earth to return to a natural state can we try to avoid the worst effects of the fireball. The less poisons we have in the atmosphere at the time of the Great Burn, the less polluted ash will remain when we come back to the surface. So, we will begin to transition inside of the mountain so that we can work out the worst of the bugs. And we don't have to do that after we close ourselves in the mountain, after the catastrophe happens. But we won't live entirely underground until then. We will have, however, all take turns living underground, being required to spend a certain amount of time there adjusting to the underground ecosphere. Only by doing this can we adjust to the possible need to live underground for an extended period of time. This will ensure our survival when we move underground. Because of our newfound status as the ruling class of priests belonging to an intergalactic council, we will be gifted by the nations and by the council to ensure that our contribution to the establishment of the galactic representation is well rewarded. So every nation will give to us. We will be justly compensated for all the pain that we have suffered. So, that ends the general discussion of chapter 24 of the Pot Smoker's Bible, and now we will begin the dissertation of the 21st chapter of the Book of Zion. We begin with Micah 4, 5 to 13, which is Zion 21, 1 to 9. For all people will walk every one in the name of his God, and will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever. In this passage, we see the new idea of God as alien. Up until now, God has meant something supernatural, but here God becomes alien. We have always considered God to be an all-powerful deity that was never present, but always a threat. And as stated, everyone had their own version of this all-powerful God. But from now on, God is alien. And as for those other gods, well, now we know that we are no better than anyone else, because we can all aspire to become just like them. God is no longer inaccessible. We all can become gods, and as for our true alien god, well, we will never lose our connection to them ever again. God is no longer a mystery. God is a race of beings from a long dead solar system who came to Earth looking for a new home. We now know that we are part of them, their children. We were meant to become them. So now we can live with our true alien gods as friends. In that day, said the Lord, will I assemble her that halteth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. From the very beginning of this age of men, women have been, at best, treated like dumb children who aren't intelligent enough to do more than bear children. We have been treated as chattel or property. We have been sold with dowries. Our lives have been subjugated. And once we started to assert our true intellect, we were forced into sexual slavery or low-paying jobs that kept us from asserting any true authority. We have been kept powerless on purpose. But with the return of marijuana came the return of the feminine power source. Our true intelligence is now emerging. We are done being treated like wayward children who must be controlled. We now know our true strength, and we know that we are the equal of any man. And now that we have our power again, we can start doing something about it. The mess men have made of things, we being women know how to clean up after men. We've been doing it since men and women were created. So we together will repair what we can of our planet and create a new, safer society. So, with the advent of women as equals, unity can be achieved. We will work together as equals. We will take care of what's necessary first, and we will do things right the first time. Because men tend to be in a hurry all the time. You don't take the time to do things right. As soon as you invent something, no matter how crude it is, you use it. Instead of finishing it right so that it will last and be safe to use, men, we don't need shit so badly so quickly that we should be willing to accept less than the best. So, women have been forced to take a back seat in this society until recently, when we have begun to force our way back into where we belong, beside men, helping them to gain balance. We may have had a force of our own. We may have had to force our way into our rightful place. But now that we are back, we are going to be better than we once were. And I will make her that halteth a remnant, and her that was cast off a strong nation. And the Lord shall reign over them in Mount Zion, from henceforth even and forever. So, God will ensure that there will never be a battle of the sexes again. The women that have been cast off by men will come together in Zion to create a new national family. Men have destroyed the family as we once knew it. We women must become the heads of the family. We have to we have had it forced on us by the men who have abandoned their families. So, in Zion, the women will be the rulers of the families, and we will be the equal of men in government. And so, there I'll stop for today. Next time, we'll take up where we left off. May the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, keep you from all harm, and teach you right from wrong. May you always be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. May you always be happy and high. Know that I love you all. I'll say later now, 'cause I'll never say goodbye.